I think you're very well placed to answer one question, right? जो मेरे दिमाग में आ रहा था while you were talking, right? You have, uh, अभी, for example, the last, मतलब, and I've been probably doing marketing in some way or the other for the last 10 years or so, right? मतलब, pre and post B school. The template probably, oh, 10 years ago or 5 plus years ago was that you get into the best FMCG setup that you can, and then you keep moving on and on and on, and once you become big enough, then you kind of move laterally into a CMO position at some place or the other, right? That was the normal template which we see a lot of folks kind of doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
uh, Suddenly, I think probably post 2016 and 17, when a lot of consumer tech started blowing up in India and started with the first generation of startups, and now so much has happened and so much has changed, and now suddenly that template is being revisited. I don't know if for good or not for good. So since you have a good perspective of FMCG side pay, growing the traditional ladder of kind of learning the ropes, starting from where you did, and uh, going through that traditional ladder and moving as a marketer, and then now that considering you're with Unstop, and before this you were with Sunstone, and you had a very different kind of a perspective on what marketing is and what people want. So since you said कि मेरे को purpose revisit करना लगा, do you think
Correct.
the meaning of what a marketer's ladder should be right out of B
Yeah.
school, do you think that has changed a little?
Absolutely. Little nahi bhai, pura complete. And I say this after having spoken to my old bosses who are still there in that world, which I have left after a decade, and now having now practicing what I'm doing every day. They secretly want to join this, right? But they also know that if they won't get a gig like this because they're so ingrained into it. I'll tell you the problem. Pick up any of these big FMCG companies. What is their annual growth rate? 10. At a best case, 16%,
single
17%.
single digit or
Single digit is like great. Single digit volume growth is a great year, right? And that is pathetic, I can tell you, because I mean, simple energy ka equation बोल रहा हूँ. Entire energy goes in just managing the bureaucracy and hierarchy, right? Presentations, itne sare check-ins, right? If you if you take the same startup mindset and cross tab it there with those power of those brands and the distribution wherewithal, each of those companies can grow at 25-30% minimum, if not more. I can guarantee you. Like I wish some company somewhere, some CEO has that listening cushion of those folks who, and he can breathe in that energy and give that experiment for 1 year. Right? I want one behemoth to take this. And honestly, I've spoken to some of the chairman MDs from some of my past companies with this, and they get scared when I say something like this, right? So that tells you the mindset. I think coming back to a question, yes, marketing ladder has completely changed. Like to quote one of my better mentors from the FMCG world, they say, "यार हमको पता है कि हम dinosaur हैं, but we would like to be dinosaurs. It's okay, right?" So that is sad, man. So at some level, because I think I'll struggle. I'll struggle to go back to that world again because I try. Someone like me, I don't know. Well, I think my tribe thrives on energy and impatience. मतलब hierarchy is something that we absolutely detest. मतलब तुम कुछ चीज करते हो, कुछ कैंपेन करते हो बॉस लोग को खुश रखने के लिए, और अच्छा कैंपेन कर दिया, नाइस वैनिटी मैट्रिक्स, वो नहीं करना है और लाइफ में बिल्कुल नहीं करना. एंड आई हैव डिसाइडेड आफ्टर 13 years, राइट? सम पीपल विल टेक लाइक आई डोंट नो 15 17 years, or maybe in 2-3 years में पता चल जाएगा किसी को, राइट? मेरे को वो इतना मैं ब्रेव है कुछ वो मैं क्लेम नहीं कर रहा हूँ. It took me a good 10-11 years to reach this mindset, right? And maybe some people pushed me, some mentors, etc. Maybe you are better made for that world, etc. I don't know whether I'm doing great, but I'm happy every day, right? So I'm very focused on the growth metric. Wo thinking, I think, if you ask me the why does marketing thinking ladder has changed is because of the democratization through digital. Absolutely no other reason. I mean, है ना, वो मीडिया मतलब 100 crore का बजट एनुअल हैंडल कर लिया यार वो सब. मतलब आई लाइक दिस कीपिंग दिस एनेक्डोट. लाइक मेरे को याद है वन ऑफ माय ब्रांच स्टॉट डाउन, उसमें मेरे को बहुत अच्छा लग रहा था, मेरा कैंपेन अच्छा चल रहा था. लाइक उसका देख रहा हूँ कि मतलब इक्विटी मैट्रिक्स आर मूविंग, हाउस होल्ड नीड्स एंड एवरीथिंग, मार्केट शेयर्स मूविंग. तो मेरे को नेक्स्ट ईयर, इट इज अराउंड February व्हेन आई एम प्लानिंग फॉर द नेक्स्ट ईयर, तो मैं बॉस को ब्रांड प्लान का फर्स्ट कट बना के बोला कि ये है. अरे तू यू आर नॉट मेकिंग अ फिल्म दिस ईयर. आई सेड नो, दिस फिल्म इज वर्किंग फाइन, इसको चलने दो. 6 महीने पहले ही बनाया और 6 महीने मेरे को चलाने दो. आई एम कॉन्फिडेंट आई कैन मैनेज द सेम इक्विटी एंड एवरीथिंग. He said, no, कैसे तो फिल्म नहीं करेगा एज अ ब्रांड मैनेजर, कैसे चलेगा? यू हैव टू मेक अ फिल्म. हम नहीं. So we used to have like spend targets and film making targets. So I can't believe that world doesn't exist. For us, and then so that happened because of the democratization again. So
True.
now people are a lot more measurable, accountable. But in that world, I think the traditional marketing world, the ownership is going to, accountability needs to come, because I see वो LinkedIn में अभी भी post दिखते हैं उन लोग के. The conversation is not on the धंधा. It's just to tag the bosses and please them. Still दिख रहा है कि campaign कर लिया और वही same vanity metrics के लिए. And I know the real shit is because through distribution, look at distribution strength हटा लो, वो सब brand marketer फिर जाएंगे.
Absolutely.
Sorry,
So somebody,
I don't know who all will see this episode.
I'll make sure I tag the right folks. मतलब मैं पुराने जाके आपके बॉस ढूंढ के बोलूंगा कि देखो डायनासोर बोला इसने.
They will understand. जिन्होंने बोला ना.
No, so I absolutely agree with what you're saying, right? So before this, and I've done another podcast with this gentleman called Hitesh, right? So Hitesh built Nika, and he was the CMO there for about 5-6 years through their growth journey, and now he's doing something in Web3. क्योंकि वो time पे Web3 dead नहीं था, अभी आज dead है, maybe he'll move on to something else. So our paths crossed, right? When Reliance was looking to get into beauty and everything, so I was on that team, and he came on. So he said, and I've gone over this with him also. He said, "That life में तुम लोग क्या कर रहे हो?" So basically, as a marketer, you are basically screwing up. If you are in a large conglomerate, you are with these large e-com brands, and that time I was working on helping build Agio Lux, so under the Agio umbrella. So like these brands are of course high growth and everything, but you have the cushion of whatever. You have cushion of somebody who's writing the checks and everything else, and at some point there is all of that boss pleasing, there is all of that vanity metrics bit, and wo sab hai usme. So it's like, if you want to do it, just go to a 50% startup and just take a seniorish position there and just try to hire people and run people and do everything. Just do it for 2 years, and fail hota hai to ho jaye. And the important point to note is he said this during the bull run. So 2020 के time बोला था, अभी 2023 में maybe the advice would have changed, but so I was like, and that time, and him being in Nykaa and all, and that time all your ex-colleagues would gone to Nykaa, like, what is Nykaa, all of this small beauty, kitna bada opportunity hai in India, and right, you like foolishly have those questions. And then when the IPO came, and suddenly they are Maseratis here, and all of that, वो सब हो रहा है, अरे ये क्या हुआ? So all of that is happening suddenly. नहीं startup करेंगे, startup में marketing होता है, traditional company में नहीं होता marketing. But so that's the childish way of going about it. But I think the ladder has really changed. It's not about does X FMCG come to your campus or doesn't come to your campus. I think the narrative has really changed. Like, you can be in a 50% startup and do some absolutely stellar marketing work, and so many, and consumer tech में तो इतने examples हैं, and I just feel not only marketing, I'll put in growth, I'll put in everything else which comes under the umbrella. Folks are doing such stellar stuff. I'm sure you meet a lot of young people who've kind of chosen to take that route. So what do you think? How do they come across to you?
The young folks?
So say somebody, couple of years out of B school, somebody wants to make it as a marketer but has taken a slightly non-traditional trajectory till your interview.
Yeah, correct. So हाँ, मतलब इंटरव्यू तो अभी बहुत मजा आता है लेने में, मतलब बच्चों का ना, इतना कुछ मैं खुद के बारे में सीखता हूँ, like, oh God, this is how I should be asking them, क्या क्वेश्चन पूछना चाहिए. So anyway, so I think I'll talk about 2 cohorts of interviewees that I have met. They are very interesting. I think one is just like you were saying, थोड़ा सा हटके off the beaten path, सही बोला off the beaten path जो होते हैं, so they are, I think I like the experimentative lot. Like they are genuinely way more braver than what I was after 2-3 years into post B school career. Right? वो मेरे को बहुत मजा लगता है. Like I think वो psychologically ये वाला generation बहुत ज़्यादा experimentative हुआ है for the right reasons, and I have lot of respect for them. Hence, but the other cohort, which I am increasingly becoming more hopeful and confident about, and they'll kill it, is I think the undergrad non-MBA talent. I'll tell you, and they are going to kill it, bro. And I'll tell you my hype. Yeah, and I actually now intentionally look out to them to hire them early. Like typically, I'll tell you the exact definition of the psychographic as well. Second, third year DU bacha, right? Utha lo. Like one of those better DU colleges, and then groom them. Trust me, they are the, how do I put it, raw talent, those uncut diamonds. उसको जो करना है सिखा दो, brand growth, content, सब, because they are just, but हाँ, you have to resource them with the right tools now, right? And tools तो अभी सब आ गया है, right? So वही मतलब लीवर दे दो वो दुनिया उठा लेगा वो टाइप्स बच्चा. Problem is, I think MBA का एक problem. Now I have realized this. MBA gives a lot of फालतू expectations. Like on all, it garlands you with a lot of expectations. कि कितना comp चाहिए, ये company चाहिए, ये FMCG चाहिए. वो फालतू है. If you realize, like you go through that drill for 5-6 years and then you say क्या किया? Why? Like this is what I want every day, right? And those kids are devoid of that, right? So also I think over the years MBA का sheen थोड़ा कम हुआ है with the ROI of the course coming down. So thankfully they're not thinking MBA जो हम वहाँ पे थे. So hence they're a little more tappable. So I think this is a secret I am letting you and the viewers hopefully listen to. Tap into that second, third year undergrad talent. I'm telling you, they are going to define the every domain. I think growth, marketing, and beyond as well, businesses. With this again, I think hopefully with the tools etc. AI being used a lot more because कुछ मतलब ओके कंट्रोवर्शियल को जॉब्स तो मेरे को खत्म होने दिख रहा है मेरे को एजेंसीज एक्सेट्रा तो काफी खत्म हो जाएंगे लाइक व्हाई डू आई नीड देम आई इंटरनेट क्रिएटिव टीम को मिड जर्नी बार्ट लेके खत्म किल कर रहा है यार तो
So your tip is very good. So basically गार्गी कॉलेज के प्लेस को हम मतलब टैग वैग करके ये कि मतलब अपने को इनवाइट करो and then that's a good place to. But that's the thing about bigger companies, right? मतलब if you are in a slightly more traditional shape, right? They'll be like, this is our tier 1 campuses that we go to, these are the tier 2 campuses we go to, and at the end of the day you start complying to the kind of जो चलता हुआ आ रहा है वो चलता हुआ चलेगा, like and lot of folks who come from so-called tier 2 business schools, right, who come from the IMTs and the SIMBIs and the Narsi Munjis of the world, right, and they have to look towards platforms like Unstop. They have to look towards the Mahindra War Room and bunch of other places to get a real fair shot. Because the so-called marquee employers will carry this huge weight and burden of who to do. So if you are currently at the position you are, you can afford to go to Gargi College and kind of take your pick of folks you really feel are uncut diamonds. But अगर आप Unilever में होते तो आपको वही campus जाना पड़ता, and probably you would be able to get your pick
absolutely
at the B school, probably the B school that we went, right? मतलब आप शायद वहाँ भी नहीं जा सकते to pick folks who genuinely go on to become fairly good marketers eventually. So how do you think somebody who does not have as much flexibility वो कैसे ये mental model apply करे?
Because of the B school or the college or campus that he has got into, right?
Yeah.
I think I'll again go back to the same phenomenon of democratization. So like it doesn't matter where he or she is today. He or she, अच्छा दूसरा pronoun में use नहीं करता अपन जो लोग करते
दे them पे नहीं है अभी इतना वो नहीं हुआ
इतना वो नहीं हुआ अपन हाँ तो but जहाँ पर भी हो जो भी campus में हो, like I think I mean the tool is one click away, right? So up to you to figure out what you want to do. And I think the good thing is currently people have I mean the world has its playground with the internet, right? What I'm trying to say is जब हम थे थोड़ा डायनासोर टाइप लाइन हो गया जब हम थे कि मतलब वो इंटर्नशिप्स इतने नहीं थे भाई, मतलब फ्री वाले भी, राइट? मतलब गिने चुने कोई एक जीन्स ब्रांड न्यूमरो यूनो नाम याद आ गया मेरे को, न्यूमरो यूनो का एक दुकान था गाजियाबाद में, उसमें एक रिटेल का प्रोजेक्ट मिला था, बहुत ही भीख मांग के, बिकॉज़ आई वाज इन अल्कोहल एक्सेट्रा, हेल्प पर मिल गया था मुझसे, तो दैट वाज लाइक अ ग्रेट प्रोजेक्ट एंड आई गॉट अ लाइक व्हाटएवर, बट इट वाज सो एकेडमिक, नो थ्योरी टच नथिंग, मतलब हार्डली में कुछ कस्टमर से भी नहीं मिला था शायद, बैठे-बैठे सर्टिफिकेट मिल गया था. So अभी तो like I mean at any point of time I'm having 10-15 interns with me from UG and PG both, and I see them genuinely adding value to me. I mean I'm not like you know making anything up, right? And मेरे को बहुत सही लगता है, and again I believe that I have a lot of respect for this sort of opportunity today. So जहाँ पे भी हो तुम, to answer your question, tier 2, tier 3, make use of those internships and you can you know hack your way out, man. Through hustle के ऊपर कुछ नहीं है, मतलब वो कर लेंगे and use the resources. But हाँ, तुमको एक बेस लेवल का तुमको इंटेंट और स्किल थोड़ा सा चाहिए, नहीं तो
True.
तुम कुछ नहीं कर पाओगे. I'm sorry to
True.
break the. So which means again hustle करके figure out करो कि मेरा skill क्या है, मेरा intent कहाँ पे ज्यादा है, वो जल्दी कर लो. Some people take a little longer, some people really do it early. तो वो बट फिगर आउट करने का वही प्लेग्राउंड को यूज करो. प्लेग्राउंड आइडेंटिफाई करो, लोगों से पूछो अगर खुद को पता नहीं. डोंट गो बाय मम्मी पापा क्या बोल रहे हैं, भैया भैया. लाइक देयर आर अदर पीपल विद हु हैव बीन देयर डन दैट. सो या, mentors use playground opportunities and then hustle and figure your way out. Yeah.
Very cool. I think that's really good advice. I particularly like the part about मतलब when you said that, but I'll dial back थोड़ा सा जो बोल रहे हैं कि you think a lot of jobs are going to die and you talked about कि mid journey पे ये सब, and I was talking to somebody else. He said कि and this person leads an advertising agency. He said he just took mid journey's example. He said कि मेरे को पहले storyboard बनाने में this is the time and resources that it used to take, and now it takes me less than 7 minutes to do it, and we do it on a Google Meet call. So
Yeah.
so I'll connect to the previous question and say considering कि अभी देखो the definition of what the marketing ladder is changing, the democratization of opportunities that you said, that is also another factor. Now the third factor is कि ये अभी ये Joker in the pack has come out, right? That lot of people see it as replace कर रहा job, या तुम्हें complement करेगा. Is it somebody who's going to take your place? Is it an assistant? Is it a copywriter's assistant? Is it a designer's assistant? So there's all of those opinions around it. So I think somebody who's just starting out, like how should they view the enablement that some of these tools give you, and how can they then build from there?
I think देखो मतलब एक सिंपल क्वेश्चन खुद को पूछना है बिफोर यू जंप इनटू हाउ टू यूज द एआई बैंडवैगन, व्हिच इज की मैं क्या चीज काफी मतलब डिसेंटली अच्छा करता हूं बट आई एम नॉट एफिशिएंट एट इट. Right, like I wish I had more time to do that better. That's it. This is the question. If you ask yourself and you have a good answer, you would solve. And I'll give you two personal anecdotes where I know how I want to use it. Right. तो मेरा बचपन का मेरा आइडल था सत्यजीत रे. राइट. सो मतलब लोग लिखते थे नेताजी सुभाष बोस रविंद्रनाथ टैगोर, मैं लिखता था सत्यजीत रे बिकॉज सिंपल थी. वो बंदा मतलब दूसरे लेवल का था, सब कुछ करता था. राइट. जैक ऑफ ऑल ट्रेड्स एक्चुअली था. लाइक म्यूजिशियन, खुद लिखता था स्टोरी, खुद डायरेक्ट तो करता ही था, कैमरामैन भी था. And then script writing, सब कुछ sketch करके, everything, costume design, everything, right? So imagine if Satyajit Ray had Midjourney, etc. Like he would have made probably 2,000 movies than the 60 odd that he made, right? So that, है ना? तो
I think that should be a prompt also. Actually, वो डाल के देखना चाहिए that if
make a
I'm sure
movie
that,
like
like I think people do that. Who's that person? Keep forgetting Richard Burton or somebody ना कि उसके स्टाइल में एक आप वीडियो बना के दिखाओ. So if you put an AI prompt कि just shoot like Satyajit Ray should have, तो क्या आएगा? हाँ, so sorry, मतलब वो मेरे को बहुत cool idea है, but हाँ please continue.
है ना? तो या वेस एंडरसन मूवी बना दिया, some Nolan type. Anyway, so but the point I'm trying to make is you need to have that रे के जैसे बेसिक लेवल का कुछ. रे लेवल तो ज्यादा हो गया भाई, एक्सट्रीम हो गया, बट कुछ तो तुमको खुद को जानना है पहले. तो एआई का फाइट है कि not everyone will become awesome. Sorry, that's the breaking news. जो ऑलरेडी थोड़ा गुड है वो awesome होएगा. So गुड, सॉरी, वेरी गुड वाले awesome होंगे, गुड वाले शायद थोड़ा सा बेटर होंगे. That's it. और कुछ लोग तो जो जिनको लग रहा है कि वो गूगल जैसे सर्च करके करे, उनको कुछ नहीं होगा, जो थे अभी भी रहेंगे. So and my personal anecdote, keep coming back to that. So I sketch, right? I doodle, like what I, with lot of vanity, I put it here on my title. मैं पेन एंड पेपर में जब sketch करता था ना, like I didn't like the white spaces at times which were left. And then cut to I think 2019, just pre-COVID, I purchased Apple Pencil and iPad, and I realized the fascinating completion rate of Adobe Fresco as a tool. Like filter फटाफट हो जा रहा है, तो and my like efficiency went like 4x, right? So same sketch weekend में मैं एक जो बनाता था शायद 6 घंटे में, वो मेरा 6 घंटे में 3 हो गया, 4 हो गया, right? So and now I'm thinking to use that thought with Midjourney, etc. So obviously that 4x will become like 40x, probably, if not more, right?
True.
तो वो बेसिक लेवल तुमको तो भाई चाहिए कुछ, राइट? तो गुड कॉपीराइटर्स विल बिकम वेरी गुड विल बिकम ऑसम. जो लोग कुछ नहीं थे वो कुछ, दे हैव टू फिगर आउट व्हाट दे आर गुड एट. सो दैट्स द ओनली थिंग. लाइक आई थिंक दैट्स द हैक आई टेल यू कि भाई पहले वो फिगर आउट करो तुम किसमें थोड़ा अच्छा हो, जो नहीं कर पा रहे हो ज्यादा एफिशिएंटली, एंड देन गेट अलाउड.
Makes sense. So मतलब you first figure out, you do your own soul searching पहले कि बॉस मेरे से क्या हो पाएगा, क्या नहीं हो पाएगा, and do like a proper audit and assessment. उसके बाद then you figure out what are the tools which are going to 4x your productivity or whatever else that you spoke of. काफी cool. So but I want to pick your brain on a couple of more things, right? So I think just I think one thing which जब भी marketing लोग मिलते हैं, right, they talk about, like, I feel कि वो 3 चीज़ों के बारे में बात करते हैं, मतलब especially अगर तुमने शराब पिया है तो थोड़ा सा, like, there are net 3 topics. The first topic is you'll bitch about agencies. एजेंसी नहीं मिल रहा, या मेरा एजेंसी बेकार है, या मेरा ये है, मेरा रिटेनर था, तो समथिंग इन दैट रीजन. द सेकंड थिंग इज यू बिच अबाउट योर फाइनेंस टीम कि मेरा बजट कट गया, पिछला ये है, मेरे को ये क्वार्टर में आई हैड टू प्रूव कि दिस है, परफॉर्मेंस में इतना आ रहा है, ब्रांड में इतना आएगा, तो दैट इज द सेकंड बकेट. और थर्ड बकेट विच इज अ मोर रिसेंट वन इज पीपल डिबेट द cred team, the marketing that they do, is it genius or is it stupidity. So I want to pick up the third point. So
अच्छा.
for creds marketing, that all that they put out, what is your take? The unfiltered, what do you think? ये सही कर रहे हैं, या और are they just democratically transferring wealth from VCs to Tanmay Bhatt?
हाँ, मतलब लास्ट सेंटेंस पे यू ऑलरेडी आंसर्ड व्हाट आई वाज गोइंग टू आंसर. यार वो
Leading
तो
question.
हाँ, बिकॉज़ देखो मतलब मैं तो क्विज़र हूँ ना, तो ऑफ कोर्स आई वांटेड टू नो कि व्हाट इज हैपनिंग बिहाइंड द सीन्स एंड आई स्पोक टू पीपल
Yeah,
क्लोज टू द फेनोमेनन एटसेट्रा. दो तीन
yeah.
चीज पता चला. तो आई थिंक इट्स बिकॉज़ ऑफ द रिलेशनशिप बिटवीन कुणाल शाह एंड तन्मय बट व्हाट वी आर सीइंग, राइट. सो वो सब चीज इतना जल्दी प्रोडक्शन नहीं हो सकता. ठीक है, तो वो क्यों हो रहा है वो पता चल गया. नंबर 1 दैट, एंड ऑफ कोर्स वीसी मनी ट्रांसफर एटसेट्रा वो तो आपको पता है. मतलब मैं बोल भी नहीं रहा हूँ कि उसका बिजनेस मॉडल क्वेश्चन एटसेट्रा क्या है. But I think where I should give the credit where it's due is the usage of pop culture. Like यार लोग बात करते रहते हैं. I think it sort of set a benchmark far too high for all of us in the ecosystem of content marketing in some shape or the other. That यार सोचने के idea किस level पे ले जा सकते हो and how much brave can you be. That I look at Tanmay Bhatt as the CEO of Indian pop culture. राइट. मतलब लिटरली इफ यू थिंक अबाउट इट, लाइक ओवरपावर्ड एआई लेके जा करता है. मतलब मैं कभी नहीं बोला, मैं फर्स्ट टाइम तेरे यहाँ पे पॉडकास्ट में बोल रहा हूं, बट आई हैव लॉट ऑफ रिस्पेक्ट फॉर दैट गाय. आई थिंक
Totally
he
agree.
and he and Karan Johar are, I think, way ahead in terms of their thinking and trend spotting in their own ways and their own domains, and some are overlapping also in some respect, right. So वो तन्मय बहुत जल्दी पकड़ लेता है. लाइक ओवरपावर्ड एआई का जिस लेवल का वो पर एपिसोड में बात कर रहा है विद अदर गाय फॉरगेटिंग हिज नेम, आई थिंक लाइक पीपल विल नाउ फ्लॉक टू दैट टेम्पलेट एंड कॉपी, right. And every end Britannia put out a set of ads last week or this week it was. So everyone is going to use that line. तो cred ने वो benchmark content का कर दिया था when they did put that first set of ads out, right. So the first one was Anil Kapoor, right, what was the first ad for whatever.
I think yeah, Anil Kapoor, Baba Sehgal, Udit Narayan, बहुत सारे एक ही टाइम पे आए थे. So मतलब it was just like some मतलब रोजगार योजना for everybody that we forgotten. So but काफी cool था. मतलब I am totally with you on the pop culture thing, but specifically as a marketer I want to ask you कि efficacy, मतलब that word that we dread and talk about, मतलब where are you on that?
Yeah, but I'll tell you. Well, I like going back to first principle, which is ingrained in me. I just explained a few minutes back that double layer communication architecture. Right? Category एक चल रहा है और उसके साथ उसका purpose / broader communication तो चलता था. Let's not forget that ये जो मतलब pop culture वाला old icon वाला जो red का layer था, उसके साथ एक complete प्रोडक्ट फोकस, कैटेगरी फोकस, एक जिम सर्फ का भी वो चल रहा था ना कैंपेन, डाउनलोड करें, right. In fact, that was their first communication. So they never, I think if you break their media deployment thinking down, you will see that there was always the investment on the fun content without ever letting go of the category content, right. So category created, sorry. So वो बहुत important है. I think वो principle मेरे लिए ingrained है कि like category should be first, category plus होना चाहिए जो तुम्हारा fun या दूसरा जो brand building layer है top of the funnel. I think this largely followed that. Of course, I mean the monies etc. what we got to see was more of the top of the funnel stuff and less of bottom funnel. वो उसपे we can debate, but I think they did it. Let's not forget the other layer. That's the only point I'm trying to make. So I have respect for that. Yeah.
So I sometimes think about it कि यार cred का target group, they're trying to onboard more and more people who are, let's just say, CIBIL score 800 and above, right? So they are probably going after the same folks who Amex goes after, मतलब loosely, major overlap रहेगा. Now Amex in their marketing or bunch of other people, they are very different in their tonality, and you would expect a BFSI player, मतलब I'm not using the word fintech, right? Fintech तो बोल के कुछ भी हो जाता है. So a BFSI player, something who's actually handling your credit card bills and enabling payments and bill payments and UPI and whatnot, right? So if you're in that space, you would expect trust to be a platform, you would expect, bunch of other things, right? Bunch of those traditional things. Jaise Amex bolta hai, there's a sense of exclusivity in what you do. So there are few of those predictable patterns. Here, these folks are talking to the same people, but they've pretty much broken the template. Abhi,
Yes.
and not gone either of the ways. Now, the proof of the pudding is that they have been able to onboard a critical mass of folks. मतलब वो तो there is no doubt about it. अभी वो उन्होंने profitably onboard किया है नहीं किया है is a debate, right?
Hmm.
And I मतलब my suspicion is they are at the losing end of that debate.
Yeah.
Profitably कर पाए नहीं कर
You're
पाए
right.
हैं.
You're
So
right. Yeah.
but to be able to sell this to somebody who's put in a few millions into your series A, series B at that point, okay, yeah, this is the platform that we'll take and this is the test ad that we're going to put out, but we are going to go after Amex's customer. वो conversation कैसे होता है? मतलब how do you do that with मतलब how does Kunal manage that with the say a Sequoia or
Correct.
whoever their lead investors are?
So I think it comes from the founders. Yeah, are a different breed. Like I've spoken to a few that I've worked with, and once I haven't. मतलब I get a lot of a different level of energy. Like initially मेरे को बाहर से लगता था ये क्या है, like हमारे जैसे लोग हैं, just early in the game or whatever, was at the right place at the right time, but no, वो अलग अलग चीज़ है, वो अलग mindset है. Let's just admit, मैं वो नहीं हूँ, ये मैं बहुत clear हूँ, मैं pure marketer हूँ, that's it. तो वो but I think वो energy comes into play. The other angle, I think how they would be probably convincing, and I'll tell you, use the Amex example. You and I both have always been at airports, and I've seen that Amex ka promoter wala
Yeah,
typical
kiosk रहता
activation,
है.
right? So I mean, when in the game is how quickly can you evade their eye and just run off.
Yeah,
Some
yeah.
unfortunate folks can't be fast enough and they get caught and they have to stand there, right? But that's an investment and complete faltu investment, right? So imagine someone like Kunal definitely taking the call that वो कभी नहीं करेंगे, although we're going after the same user as them. Like it would be a very logical media vehicle choice कि एयरपोर्ट में क्रिएट का कुछ करना चाहिए. Have you seen any branding of create in any airport? I don't recall. I genuinely don't recall, right? So I think that calls for some level of marketing intelligence as well, right? Like understanding wherein if I over-index my choice, that I'll actually get that moonshot level of growth of new users, right? The other thing I think let's not run away from it that भाई product तो अच्छा है, मतलब in the sense that the for me personally paying credit card bills is something I was 100% forgetting till like 2019-20. वो मेरे लिए जॉय हो गया है. आई लुक फॉरवर्ड टू इट. कुछ नहीं, वो फालतू में कुछ कॉइन्स कभी रिडीम भी नहीं किया हूँ, बट बाद में बिल पे करने के बाद जो कॉइन्स आता है 5 वो घुमाना अच्छा लगता है. एंड यू एक्चुअली लुक फॉरवर्ड टू द रिमाइंडर्स दैट कम इन एंड यू वांट टू पे दैट इमीडिएटली ऑफ, राइट? So FOMO based job and it's a good product platform that they've cracked from a tech perspective. That's a good job done. Had that not been there, no matter how awesome the marketing was, the awareness campaign was, it would have never flown and got them the number of users. Okay, that question is of course there, like you correctly said. वो better manage हो सकता था, but वो तो PC pressure वो सब की वजह से तो है ही, not getting there. Yeah.
हाँ, तुम्हें मतलब from a media choice perspective, I think the airport makes more sense than the IPL stadium, right? So, but मतलब that's what the conventional wisdom will say कि अभी इधर IPL देखने कौन आ रहा है and how many of them are the folks you would want to have, right? So-called whales who would spend and who would take your loans and पता नहीं है मतलब I feel I really want to see I don't want to say
Breakdown the
entire.
marketing.
I want to see कि यार ये play out कैसे होता है मतलब and they are no high profile other than Kunal. I don't think none of their marketing folks kind of go out and talk, right? So and Kunal also talks about वो philosophy major, talks about very philosophical esoteric things, so it's sometimes a little difficult to get through an interview which he does, but I would really want somebody from marketing to kind of just say कि यार ये हमारा mental model है, this is where we think we are going. But काफी cool. I think Thread has been. Tell me about your like I'm really quite fascinated with the mandate that you currently have, right? And I've seen this platform and I've used this platform while I was at school. It was in a very different avatar at that point in time.
Dare to
And I've
compete.
seen it, so dare to compete. And that point in time, out of out of desperation or
कंपटीशन
whatever
में पार्टिसिपेट करना है, देख तो
else,
सीवी में वो नीचे वाला सेक्शन था.
कंपटीशन जिंदगी थी वो टाइम पे ना मतलब इट वाज
Yeah.
के देख फाइनल प्लेसमेंट जो होगा नहीं होगा एंड आई थिंक लॉट ऑफ फोक्स हु कम टू बी स्कूल्स and they feel के अरे चलो I got those 2 questions less right, so this is my CAT score and this is where I can eventually land, right? And that kind of translates into a reduced pool of employers that you could potentially go to. So you look at ways to hack, and now of course there are many more ways to hack, but probably 2013 2014 this was probably one of the only ways to to kind of just pivot into that group. So I've seen what value it provides to an insecure preschooler, or somebody who feels that he or she doesn't have the canvas which she could paint on, right?
Yeah.
So I want to understand what's the part that you most love about this mandate, और उसमें किस चीज में सबसे ज्यादा मजा आता है, right? And I think that will be quite interesting. But what is even more interesting is I'm sure there are parts of this mandate that you hate, and I want to spend a little more time on that. कि what are the parts which you felt कि थोड़ा सा यार इसमें ज्यादा सही होता तो I think we would have been in a better place.
Sure, sure. No, great question, and I'll break this down and answer each of them. So I think the first bit that I need to talk about the product, what it is. So it started as, like you said, the competition section, right? So competition का first aggregator था in the market. Like
Yeah.
again, it started in 2009-10. तब वो एक दो अच्छे वाले competitions होते थे, HUL के Line, Mahindra Volume, etc. ऐसे 4-5 ही होते थे. बाकी companies were like way behind in terms of even thinking कि this can be not just a hiring opportunity through engagement, but also an employer branding opportunity on campuses, on talent which will be with us, right? So वो सोच this brand actually played a big role in making other people sensitized to that sort of an opportunity and think of properties, right? तो अभी बहुत सारे कॉपीज आ गए उसके साथ पीछे टेक में काफी पीछे पर है. So that big role, I think it's pretty fascinating, and I got a perspective of that just after joining in a month or so. Last month we had this campus employer branding, campus hiring meet that we conducted, calling all the HR heads of all the companies that are there across domains, including yours, etc. And it was brilliant to see the trust that they have on this brand. Like ये मतलब काफी सालों से build हुआ है, right? That I think I love. Second bit I love that this is a sort of an embarrassing conversation I had with couple of users who are currently in these schools and engineering colleges. Like हैबिट तो वही है ना कि वो एफएमसीजी से ही है कि नया जॉब में फटाफट मेरे को पहले कंज्यूमर से बात करना है, लाइक 25 कंज्यूमर इन द फर्स्ट मंथ एटलीस्ट. So I spoke to a few users, some high users, some जो कम यूज कर रहे हैं ऐसे. And most of them said कि सर आप मार्केटिंग क्यों कर रहे हो? You already know what it is good at. So that for me it was a nice slap on my face कि wow. So that's the sort of loyalty this platform has already, right? So like you said that FOMO to take part in competitions वो अभी 10x हो गया है भाई, मतलब because of so many competitions and so many other opportunities. And add to that, now it's also a coding platform. It's also a platform with courses and mentors, like I was telling you a few minutes back.
Yeah.
So all these things are there. ये मेरे को जो अच्छा लगता है कि दिस इज ऑलमोस्ट लाइक एन आईपीएल, लाइक अ प्लेग्राउंड, लाइक एक बच्चे ने इनफैक्ट फनीली कुछ दिन पहले लिंक्डइन में ये टैग मेरे को अंकित को टैग करके ही बोला था कि देयर इज लॉट ऑफ सिमिलरिटी बिटवीन आईपीएल एंड अनस्टॉप एज अ प्लेटफॉर्म. मैं बोला भाई बहुत सही है यार, लाइक अंकित को बोल किसी को कैंपेन बना देते. बट दे सेड कि लाइक बट बुमराह जैसे अनकट डायवर्ट मुंबई इंडियंस के नेट्स में सचिन स्पॉटेड हिम एंड दिस इज नाउ जस्ट विद बुमराह, राइट? दैट्स व्हाट आईपीएल डज. Unstop, if you think about it, can do that. Like you, Harinder, sitting in IMT's hostel, you can use it, sharpen your skills, sharpen your saw. तू mentor को बात कर सकता है, courses ले सकता है बैठ के आज के दिन में, and without even probably going to class, you can become a great marketer, one of the best out there if you use the platform well. Current, so ये जो opportunity है ना, that is so empowering a thought for me as a marketer. And I have see, मतलब I'll always be a product marketer first. मतलब FMCG brand marketer तो वही होता है ना, PLN owner. तो और यहाँ पे marketing सर्विस में कभी लाइफ में कर नहीं पाऊंगा तो कोई भी कंपनी में जाके. तो इसीलिए मेरे को प्रोडक्ट में इतना विश्वास है, वो that is very fascinating, right? That bit that I like. The second bit that I don't like, the second part of your question, that like I just told you, I'm pretty sure you didn't know that there is a coding platform, there is a mentorship, there is a courses alongside the competition. I wish I could run really fast and tell people from the shouting from the rooftops कि bro ये भी है, use कर, right? So
मैं TG के ग्रुप में से एग्जिट हो गया हूँ ना, maybe that's why.
No, I'm saying even with the TG, bro, like they still use it only for those hackathons and maybe jobs, right? That's it, because वही low hanging fruit. But जो मतलब ये hindsight intelligence है ना, like you realize कि जो sharpening the saw है वो ज़्यादा important है in a campus, right? Like थोड़ा दारू कम पियो, थोड़ा सा बात कम किया करो, थोड़ा सा सब मिलके और एक कंपटीशन में पार्टिसिपेट करो टुगेदर, राइट? उसके ऊपर कुछ नहीं है, and there are great platforms like this. So that I think is a great untapped opportunity. वो थोड़ा सा मैं impatient हूँ, like I told you. So that bit I don't like. How fast can I tell as many people as possible, because their time is their clock is ticking as well, right? So yeah, that. I don't know if that answered your question, but nobody we answered the spot.
सेकंड पार्ट वाला आंसर थोड़ा-सा मतलब डिप्लोमैटिक था, तो
डिप्लोमेटिक था।
मतलब थोड़ा-सा
और
डिप्लोमैटिक।
नहीं, ओके, और एक आंसर है सेकंड पार्ट में। आई थिंक ऑफ
हुँ,
कोर्स आई वुड लाइक अ ग्रेट सॉर्ट ऑफ वीसी बैकिंग मी टू पुट इन दैट सॉर्ट ऑफ आईपीएल मनीज
अब आया ना
विजिबिलिटी।
थोड़ा-सा,
अब
हाँ,
आ
थोड़ा
रहा वो फील आ जाएगा, मतलब फिर वो आईपीएल फाईपीएल एनालॉजी जो है वो मस्त अब
हाँ,
मैं दिखा सकता था यार। तो वो तो ठीक है, अभी तो चल रहा है थोड़ा क्रंच, so
हुँ।
idea is the currency and media is not, so
आइडिया इज़ द करेंसी, यस।
currency, yeah,
इफ आई हैड अ डॉलर फॉर एवरी टाइम आई सेड दैट, वो आइडिया को फाइनेंस कर लेता मैं।
हाँ, हाँ, तो आइडिया करेंसी लेके चल रहे हैं हम मुसाफिर, तो वो
ये लो
चीज है।
बेटा, ये लो बेटा 1 लाख रुपए जाओ वायरल कर दो।
जा भाई
ये हाँ, सो
भाई।
एक तो ये सो मतलब ये ऑन दिस ना, मतलब यू थिंक एवरी ईयर, मतलब वन थिंग इज कि मार्केटर्स को एक तो बज़वर्ड कुछ ना कुछ चाहिए, मतलब इट्स लाइक
हम्म,
कुछ यू नीड समथिंग, बिकॉज़ वी फील के जो फर्स्ट प्रिंसिपल्स हैं या जो बेसिक्स हैं, जो अपना कॉटलर, बायरन शार्प, जिस भी जिसके भी आप भक्त हो, तो इवेंचुअली वो प्रिंसिपल्स के अलावा एवरीथिंग एल्स यू वुड वांट टू सी, राइट? व्हाट इज न्यू एंड सेक्सी? वेब
हम्म,
3 सेक्सी हो गया, मेटावर्स हो गया, अभी इस बार एआई एंड एवरीथिंग है। बट टेल मी, व्हाट इज लाइक द मोस्ट ओवरयूज्ड बज़वर्ड दैट यू हर्ड इन द पास्ट डेकेड और सो? कि यार ये सुनते ही यू फील के आई विश आई कुड जस्ट सेंड दिस वर्ड टू द डेप्थ्स ऑफ हेल एंड इट शुड जस्ट स्टे देयर। पर्पस मत बोलना, पर्पस क्योंकि वो तो इजी आंसर है।
ऑलरेडी हम काफी गाली दे चुके हैं पर्पस को ना।
हाँ, पर्पस
और
को दे चुके हैं, तो
दूसरा,
वो द मोस्ट ओवरयूज्ड मार्केटिंग बज़वर्ड।
आई थिंक यार, टफ क्वेश्चन यार, like, इतने सारे which one do I choose? and
टॉप
and
3।
and so, यार ऑथेंटिसिटी, वायरलिटी, ये सब, और यार मजा
डिसिप्लिन।
नहीं आ रहा है। ये फ्रेज, ये मजा नहीं आ रहा है भाई,
हाँ,
मतलब ये बहुत मुश्किल है यार। मजा है कुछ
और
और
दिखाओ।
कहीं पे चले जाओ ना, और हाँ हाँ, और कहीं पे चले जाओ ना, मजा क्यों ढूंढ रहे हो, मेरे को बेचने दो ना। ऑगिल भी बहुत सही एक चीज बोला था ना वो, कि मतलब ऐड लिखो से बेचने के लिए ना, मतलब उसे नहीं, देन यू आर
हुँ,
नॉट मेड फॉर एड्स, इफ यू आर थिंकिंग समथिंग एल्स, मजा चाहिए। प्रॉब्लम विद आवर लाइन ऑफ वर्क इज एवरीवन हैज अ गॉडडैम ओपिनियन राइट ऑन व्हाट यू आर
ये
पुटिंग
है
आउट। ये बहुत
100%।
मुश्किल है यार। मैं बहुत पहले ये दुखी, फर्स्ट टाइम जब भी मेरे को दुख हुआ था, जब मेरा फाइनेंस बंदा अप्रूव करते करते बच्चा अकाउंटेंट बोल रहा है ये ऐड अपने ये अलग से कर सकते थे, इतना गुस्सा आ रहा मेरे को। मैं वापस आके तब मैं ब्लॉग करता था, बंद भी कर दिया, ब्लॉग में आके लिखा कि आई रियलाइज्ड
Yeah,
आई वाज़न्ट अ मार्केटर, बोल के, जब पैकेजिंग वाले ने ज्ञान दिया, सप्लाई चेन ये वो वगैरह। बट वो वाला आई थिंक वो मजा नहीं आया, इज अ फ्रेज मैन, आई विश आई कुड बरी दैट फॉर एवर। एंड
हाँ,
आल्सो ऑथेंटिसिटी व्हिच इज इन अ वे कनेक्टेड टू पर्पस अगेन, यार
हुँ,
ऑथेंटिक कुछ करते, वैसा वाला चीज,
ऑथेंटिक।
ऑथेंटिक कुछ करते हैं, रियल। एंड प्रॉब्लम इज इफ यू हैव वर्कड ऑन अ ब्रांड लाइक दैट, कि रियल
हुँ,
है यार, वैसा कुछ।
हुँ,
अरे भाई वो 60 साल लगा है, उसने भी बहुत
हुँ,
खराब ऐड किया है। आई हैव सीन ब्रांड आर्काइव्स ऑफ दैट ब्रांड, बहुत बड़ा हंसी आएगा ऐसा टाइप ब्रांड भी है, एड्स भी है
हुँ,
उसके। लोग वो भूल जाते हैं कि गलतियां हर आइकॉनिक ब्रांड्स भी किए।
आई एम
यार ये
श्योर।
सब है यार,
हुँ।
ऑथेंटिसिटी।
I think on second one, when you said मज़ा मज़ा नहीं आया ना, so one of my earlier bosses used to say कि इंडिया में मार्केटिंग, क्रिकेट और बॉलीवुड सब एक्सपर्ट है।
सब
तो सब
हाँ
बोलेगा
भाई।
कि इसको मतलब कॉरिडोर ऑफ अनसर्टेनिटी में नहीं खेलना चाहिए। अभी तू बैठा, मतलब यू आर मतलब चगिंग योर बियर, यू आर हैविंग दैट
या
एंड अरे इस टाइम तो दिस इज नॉट अ ग्रेट कैंपेन, इट्स अ फेलियर ऑफ अ
करेक्ट।
कैंपेन ना, मतलब ऐसे करके ये नहीं कि मतलब दैट पुअर कैंपेन वुड हैव गॉन थ्रू फ्रॉम आइडिएशन टू द फर्स्ट कट टू इवेंचुअली व्हाट वाज पुट आउट, उसमें मतलब उसका फ्रैंकेनस्टाइनियन मॉन्स्टर या जो भी उसको बोलते हैं, राइट? इट वुड हैव बीन अ म्यूटिलेटेड वर्जन ऑफ व्हाट वाज ओरिजिनली इंटेंडेड।
या
तो
या
वो तो है।
या
बट
यार वो, और ये वो वाला भी काफी मतलब एक सैड फेनोमेनन है। हाँ, मेरे को याद आ गया एक तो कैंप, क्या सोचा था, कैसे क्या हो गया भाई, हाथी का पूंछ, लाइक ये कर दो, ये कर दो, ओवर ऑप्टिमाइज करते करते। हाँ सॉरी, आई कट।
बताओ ना, स्पेसिफिकली बताओ कौन सा
ओ
कैंपेन था?
गॉड, सो
यू कैन मास्क आउट द ब्रांड इफ यू वांट टू मास्क
there was
आउट,
yeah man,
बट
so there was this one IPL campaign which I did. It was so pathetic. Yeah. So they were far too many, and so I think one huge learning for me through that execution of humor is that creativity can never be democracy. Like, तुमको you have to put your foot down, like to get the high quality output out. तो वो मतलब IPL campaign याद आता है कि मैं बहुत, I think I was at my softest in terms of letting too many opinion around me sort of be heard होना नहीं चाहिए यार उतना। तो वो बहुत सारा होता, इवेंचुअल आउटपुट इतना खराब आया था, मैं इट वाज, आई कुड वॉमिट, लाइक आई कुडंट शेयर इट ऑन माय ओन सोशल हैंडल, इट वाज दैट बैड। एंड मतलब
मम्मी
फिर
मम्मी को दिखाते हुए शर्म आ रही थी।
इट वाज, दैट्स अ गुड टेस्ट ऑलवेज, कि तुम मम्मी को, यार
हाँ,
एनीवे वो हुआ था यार, तो वो सो बैड। एनीवे
I can totally get it. कुछ लोग मतलब वायरल कर दो ना जाके, मतलब tell me another. I'll think about कि what's the recent ad that you've seen? मतलब considering that we're talking about bad advertising, जो idea to execution कुछ और ही बन गया. So what is the recent campaign or something that you've seen जो बिल्कुल ही cringe fest था? मतलब you literally saw the campaign and you saw कि ये approve किसने किया है?
ये वो
पहले
जो,
मेरे
हाँ, लास्ट वीक, आई थिंक लास्ट वीक आई वाज इन द थिएटर्स वाचिंग स्पाइडरमैन इनटू द स्पाइडर वर्स। तो उसमें
yeah.
तो एक जैकलिन फर्नांडिस को लेके एक, आई थिंक वो लक्स कोजी, एक लक्स कोजी का एड था। ओ भाई क्या क्रिंज था भाई, लेवल, नेक्स्ट लेवल। तो उसमें वो गाना प्ले किया बैकग्राउंड में कि ये मेरा दीवानापन है, एंड शी इज एसेंशियली
Oh yeah, I've
ऑलमोस्ट,
seen this. It's so
yeah,
bad. Yeah.
she's almost like making sensual love to the West. So
हाँ.
and then the guy appears in the last scene. It was, bro. So and by the way, it's probably reached that level of cringe that people actually laughed and that got noticed, because I saw like the next two rows ये interval के time में चल रहा था, जो popcorn वाले वापस आ गए थे, they laughed their asses off.
Hmm.
And I think they liked it. I was like, nice. So this is like cringe which, ये तो see ये गंजी बनियान के जो वो कलकत्ता वाले जो सब नाला कंपनीज है ना, तो इट्स वन ऑफ दोस
Hmm.
ब्रांड्स, एंड
Hmm.
वो लोग, उन लोग का एक गट सेंस चलता है, बोला आई वर्क इन वाला कंपनी सो आई नो, है ना, मतलब वो समझते हैं, ऐसा नहीं कि नहीं समझते, दे सी ग्रेट रेफरेंसेस एटसेट्रा। बट
Hmm.
उसके बाद भी अप्रूव किया, आई थिंक साउंडेड दे आल्सो हैव एन एक्सपेक्टेशन, कि उनको पता है कि क्रिंज है,
Hmm.
बट दिस इज, लेट दिस बी द क्रिंज दैट वर्क्स। सो आई थिंक दैट इज
Hmm.
देयर फिल्टर, and it breached, but it was so cringe, man. Oh, like that, you've seen that film, na? You could recall, na? Ye Mera Deewana, oh God. I can't ever hear that song properly anymore.
Scarred. मतलब I think she's also like the poor person's Katrina. तो उसको मतलब Katrina made love to a mango. उसको भी करने का. So why should stay behind? But एक
बनियान।
मतलब there's all these cringe fest, right? मतलब जो चल रहे हैं and social media पे तो there's amazing सब मतलब literally TMT सरिया का brand is saying कि मेरे को meme marketing करने का है and everything, right?
करेक्ट।
So what advice do you have for these kind of brands? Like कि some lala sitting somewhere वो Zomato का screenshot लेके वो अरे
कोई,
Zomato देखो क्या cool काम कर रहा है.
हाँ,
तो
कोई नहीं, कोई एडवाइस नहीं है, मतलब मेरे को, आई हैव बीन देयर, उन लोग का कुछ नहीं होगा, मतलब वो जैसे दे हैव देयर ओन सॉल्यूशन। वो देख, वो कम्युनिकेशन चलाते हैं, वो आई विल टेल यू, टिपिकली देयर एजेंसी पार्टनर इज अ भाई बंधु, जिसको बिठा के किया है। वो बचपन में वो भी वही करता था शायद तेरे मेरे जैसे, कि याद बनाना है टाइप, उसी को बोला चलो ठीक है, बिकॉज़ दे एसेंशियली दिस कंपनीज दे ट्राई टू कीप द, no sorry, I don't know why I decoded your question as only Lala companies. In non Lala companies में भी होता है, but like because you said TFT bar and all, तो इसीलिए
yeah,
वो
more
याद है।
often than not lala company में होता है.
Lala company, हाँ, they want to keep the money matters within their own family, and then largely
Hmm.
that's how they operate. Yeah, bro, this is becoming more and more controversial in episode. I don't know how the other
बहुत
episodes are.
बहुत अच्छी बात है, ऐसे ही
Yeah.
होना चाहिए. चलो
Yeah.
अच्छा, मतलब मैं आपसे अच्छा पूछ लेता हूँ. तो चलो जो cringe तो चलो cringe है, but tell me about like which brand right now is really acing their social media game? कि देख के लगता है यार कि काश I had this team. मतलब if I could just steal this team and bring them onto my office.
Two brands, so one international and one Indian. So one, the founder CEO is a friend, Shashank Mehta, Whole Truth Foods. I think he's killing it. I mean, he's absolutely killing it. And then I in fact
Amazing.
reached out to him. I reached out to a few days back. I think he's a founder marketer. So he's a
Hmm.
brand marketer था वो पहले Sunset
Hmm.
में,
Hmm.
Colgate में था। So he knows his
Hmm.
shit. So वो है. Plus he has a great person who is a creative powerhouse with him as part of the
Hmm.
creative team, who has put the design language together with a lot of beauty. If you see all the new categories he's launching, is outstanding design language, and it's
Hmm.
design first thinking in everything, including content,
Hmm.
and which is beautiful. Like वो बहुत
Hmm.
सही है. Internationally, I love Oatly. Oatly as a brand, I think they
Hmm.
continue killing it. I mean, the usage of
Yeah.
just वो लोग बहुत, lot of people have tried to be irreverent in their communication and try and cut through, but Oatly does it so cleanly, right?
Hmm.
And I
Hmm.
worked briefly in that category, so वो benchmark में तब आ गया था.
Hmm.
I love them, and और एक brand उसी category से याद आ गया, Chobani. They're into
Oh
dairy
yeah.
again. Chobani's design language is something else. It's so clean, and their communication is so beautiful. Their usage of pop culture. By the way, Chobani's internal creative team is probably the most awarded internal creative team globally. ऐसा मैं कुछ तो data देखा था 2-3 years back, I remember. So they're doing something right. These brands internally
I'm sure.
to create the right ecosystems. Yeah. So and I now having done that drill, ki no agency dependence, internal bana ke karo, and I have a lot of respect for these brands who are doing that sort of cutting edge and right for the business stuff with internal muscle only. So yeah, ये team, none of them have external agencies by the way. So ये तीनों example जो मैं उठली का शायद है, I don't know, but इनकी तो मेरे को बहुत अच्छा लगता है.
Those are very unconventional good examples. I have never usually when I ask this question, मेरे को लगता है कि Zomato
हाँ, Zomato आएगा,
और वो 4-5 Swiggy आएगा.
मेरा भी आया था. मैं झूठ नहीं बोलूंगा, मेरा स्पॉट, because obviously I have a lot of respect for this brands. Zomato का जैसे Zomato का वो बिट तो तेरे को मेरे को पता है कि you can't pin down what they're after. Like see their ads for 10 years, there is no one, and they know it. Dipinder in recent interview was also sharing. बहुत सही है मतलब. So but ठीक है मतलब these three brands I intentionally wanted to give to you कि why I have lot of respect for them.
Very cool choices. मतलब तो काफी सही. I just want to change a little bit of gears, right? मतलब here, I just want to ask थोड़ा सा मतलब controversial. Just tell me about if there's like a hoarding you could put on, say, Bandra Worli ceiling, right? And hoarding specifically is for advertising agencies. That's your primary audience. और आपको उनको कुछ मैसेज देना है. मतलब folks जो अंधेरी कलीना बेल्ट के सारे agencies हैं, मतलब ना, they are kind of passing through that to get home. So what would that hoarding say?
Sorry, फिर से बता. होर्डिंग तक I was with you, but last with में क्या पूछा? What would that hoarding say?
मतलब basically you have to yell something at advertising agencies of India. हाँ, agency का मतलब वो आपका TG है, मीडिया आपका बैंड्रा वर्ली सीलिंग पे होर्डिंग है. तो क्या सिंगल लाइन मैसेज देना चाहोगे एडवर्टाइजिंग एजेंसी का? एंड यू कांट से कि उल्लू बनाना बंद करो.
क्या बंद करो?
उल्लू बनाना बंद करो.
That's
off the table.
हाँ मतलब I think one line would be, tell me why should I even give you $100? That's the one line. Like genuinely today, मतलब give me one good reason when I can get $8 में subscription of an AI tool, and like I said, like one of those undergrad students as my right hand, and if I give them the brief, if they churn it out in less than a month, less than 24 hours, 4-5 different iterations. तो मेरे को तीन ही वेक्टर होता है ना क्रिएटिव आउटपुट का, क्वालिटी, टाइम एंड कॉस्ट, करेक्ट? तो तीनों ही मेरा मीट हो रहा है. तो that one line कि tell me why should I give you $100? That's what I should tell those folks to convince me why. Like मतलब अभी जैसे कल से चालू हो रहा है कैन लायन, सब बड़े आदमी फिर से गए वहाँ पे, राइट? मैं भी गया था 2018 में. मतलब I came back with a lot of energy, great week, right? But now I genuinely think twice, like should I even go there, like to waste my time, energy, and of course company's money. मतलब क्यों जा रहे हैं ये लोग? Why can't all these agency folks like not go and make a statement? नहीं जाएंगे, right? Like जाके उल्टा मतलब can I invest the time and then go back to my like clients and say कि bro I didn't go there. None of the big bosses went there. वो रिवर के साइड पे दारू नहीं पिया, टाइम्स ऑफ इंडिया स्पॉन्सर्ड, और उल्टा मैं आई यूटिलाइज द टाइम टू गिव यू दिस एक्स्ट्रा टाइम, एक्स्ट्रा आइडिया. ऐसे करो ना कुछ. वो तो फाइट है यार. तो वो थोड़ा सा एजेंसीज आई थिंक आर इन अ big pivotal point where they have to really figure out how they can add value. I think some of the smarter agencies, heralded by some of the younger heads, people like you and me who have come to the other side of the table and started the agencies, they are closer to the truth. Traditional ones are pretty challenged. I mean, I जो पहले में बोला था मैं घंटा पहले आपके साथ, I think उन लोग का काफी फाइट है existence का. I'll give you one more anecdote. Some of the PR agencies are doing very well. Like Ad Factors PR, I don't know whether you follow them. They're killing it. Like I think AFAX brought out India's top 20 agencies as per revenue report sometime last month. They were number 5 Ad Factors. So they started as a PR agency, 20 years back, and they slowly became like everything. Now they have everything. So the importance of PR has obviously increased because ROI, blah blah, right? So and now they are also intelligently, this company and some of the other PR companies, they've added creative functions as well. and said कि bro हम ये भी कर लेंगे, and so I think their relevance has gone up. So that's other one more constraint that only creative agencies are facing. अब तक तो creative plus digital बोल के one stop shop बोल के वो लोग फिर भी they were surviving. अभी PR वाला unexpected एक boomerang आ गया है उन लोग के पास. So that's one more trend I see, spanning out over the next few months and years.
There's this really interesting agency which is into PR and they do some stellar work. मतलब UK-based agency called Taylor Herring. I don't know if you followed their work.
Yeah, correct.
बहुत ही ज़्यादा crazy. मतलब I think I was introduced to their work through, I think they engaged with Broca for something. तो ऐसे करके किसी तरीके से now I follow them on Instagram. They have the same template as Broca 5. मतलब they're extremely rooted in strategy. मतलब पूरा वो scene है. But it will also be very pop culture. It will be very gimmicky stuff that they'll do, right? It will be clutter breaking. So they build for breaking the internet. Each of their campaigns is built for breaking the internet. So there's a template that they follow, but rooted in good, solid, old-fashioned strategy.
Product thinking.
बहुत सही लगता है मेरे को. मतलब I think Taylor Herring is good. So I'm sure Ad Factors is maybe. I'm not very familiar with their work. मतलब I've not worked with them, but वही I think a lot of PR agencies now feel कि with the information relationships being was वो asymmetry था. अभी वो asymmetry धीरे-धीरे unwind हो रहा है.
Yeah.
Now everybody with a mic has the world as his audience, right? So now the gatekeepers are not as strong as they were probably 20 years ago. So maybe all of this reinvention is coming from that कि या तो करो या तो we are not relevant.
Correct. Absolutely. Yeah. And मतलब I still find it amazing and unbelievable that so few of us in the fraternity know this. Like they're still choosing to do it the traditional way. I don't know how.
Yeah.
But वो change हो रहा है. मतलब वो धक्का सा होगा कुछ कंपनी के लिए, but वो हो जाएगा.
I'll definitely check out some more of their work. But मतलब एक criticism वो रहता है, right? For a lot of agencies के there is award winning work and then there is hard working work or whatever, right? There's all of that कि ये तो award के लिए काम करती है agency and they'll put out those examples of Mondelez वाला campaigns which have AI based and everything.
Rephrase.ai.
हाँ कि वो सब किया है आपने और उससे चॉकलेट कितना बिक रहा है. मतलब आई डोंट नो. मतलब सो आई विल रिजर्व माय जजमेंट देयर. बट हाँ ये क्रिटिसिज्म रहता है कि यार मार्केटिंग अवार्ड के लिए को अवार्ड मिलेंगे भी उनको. दे गेट विद न्यू डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन टेक्निक. कुछ गिमिक रहेगा, कुछ एआई रहेगा. मतलब व्हाटएवर इज द फ्लेवर ऑफ द सीजन दे विल बेक इट इनटू देयर एंड दे विल गेट द अवार्ड्स. बट अगर these marketing and advertising awards, if they are to truly reflect, मतलब first of all what's your take on those, right? कि मतलब are they pan masala marketing awards or are they something which actually has value?
So,
how do you think about them?
Thankfully, I don't know whether you have been there. So I was lucky to go to the award, like Canline, एक बार 2018 में.
इंडियन वाले specifically the good ones I'm sure are
इंडियन वाले सब कॉपी है. जैसे फिल्म फेयर जैसे कॉपी है, ऑस्कर का बोलो, इडियट कॉपी. तो ये वही है ना. तो मैं I'll tell you, मतलब I wanted to judge उसमें क्या है या नहीं. लाइक फिर मैं उसको ही गाली दिया. बट उसमें देखो बहुत मुनाफा भी है. मतलब इट्स ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन इन टर्म्स ऑफ द स्कोप दैट यू सी, लाइक थिंकिंग का स्कोप. मतलब वहाँ पे एक साइज ऑफ 5 ओलंपिक पूल्स एक वो लोग एक स्पेस खड़ा कर देते, वेयर फिजिकल कॉपीज ऑफ all the print, outdoor, interactive, and visual, and design, etc. All the award entries, 32,000 of them are put together for you to see. मतलब तुम 5 दिन भी घूम के उसको खत्म नहीं कर पाओगे इतना ज़्यादा. Blue Museum जैसे. And then someone like you and me, like it's like Disneyland, right? So we were like moving around, taking pictures, and it's still there on my archive, etc. And then कुछ reference मैं अभी भी use करता हूँ. That's like 5 years back, right? So power of ideas, all of it. देखने का वो ग्रेट एक मुनाफा है. नाउ कमिंग टू द इंडियन इक्विवेलेंस, आई डोंट नो हाउ मेनी ऑफ देम इवन गो टू दैट डेप्थ टू ऑनर द क्रिएटिविटी. कैन में 50% आई थिंक वो अवार्ड फोकस्ड चीज होता है, 50% जेन्युइन होता है. मतलब क्रिएटिविटी व्हिच इज इफेक्टिव एंड मूव बिजनेस, राइट? वैसा काम होता है. यहाँ पे आई थिंक it's all facts. मतलब it's too much of people pleasing each other. And another thing around COVID, इतने सारे paid awards हो गए ना. मतलब it's become a ghetto now. Like मतलब you and I must be getting so many requests on LinkedIn every time to just pay that lakh and whatever, get something. So वो बहुत हो गया है. तो या इसलिए इंडियन वाला यार गोवा फेस्ट में तो एकदम कुछ नहीं रिस्पेक्ट मिला. तो एकदम तो जा चुका था यार. वो तो पहले बच्चा जब था अच्छा लगता था. नहीं है.
तो एक दो कोई होगा मतलब the good Indian award which you think have some credibility. I know most of them are how they are. So the ones you
I
think
think.
Goa Fest, FEs, which ones do you think? Or if you'd rather win one, which one would it be?
So no, hold on. So one big vector for me is the juries. So right. So the
Hmm.
moment I saw the FE juries, who were like my counterparts, who I had questionable respect for, मेरा FEs के बारे में भी respect कम हो गया काफी कि इन लोग का भाई जूरी अगर ऐसा है तो क्या अवार्ड निकलेगा, राइट?
हाँ,
तो वो नंबर वन. Having said that, DMA Asia के I think entries I follow a lot. DMA Eco
hmm,
Asia, that I think उसमें, and it's a practice I started from 5-6 years back because they were very digital first in their thinking. So वो
yeah,
अच्छा लगता था मेरे को.
yeah.
आई थिंक एफीज में देखता हूँ कुछ कुछ एंट्रीज एक्सेट्रा, बट मेरे को अवार्ड्स फॉलो करके ज्यादा कुछ ज्ञान नहीं मिलता. हाँ, लायंस
Hmm,
क्रिएटिविटी आई हैड मेंबरशिप फॉर द लास्ट 5 years. I follow
hmm,
that religiously. I use that as a library. There, I don't know whether you've used their उन लोग का एक library है, forgetting the name. There's a library as part of subscription also. When you can go back to 60 odd years of the history of the thing and see any entry, which team has worked on it, etc. You can the email ID, etc. of the creative person as well. It's that
wow.
intense. I think it's a subscription worth having. So I've had it for
Hmm,
personally for 5 years. Sometimes
very cool.
reimbursed by my company, sometimes not. But
Hmm,
हाँ, Indian context में bro ज़्यादा कुछ नहीं दिखता.
hmm. मतलब वो नेट मतलब वो मानिकचंद पान मसाला अवार्ड ही है.
हाँ, क्योंकि
Is
देख
what it is. It's
अगर मेरे
like
को,
people
हाँ जी, मेरे को मेरे को
scratching each
मेरे
other's
लिए
back.
मेरे लिए लर्निंग एंड ट्रिविया बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है बिकॉज वन माय डे जॉब एज आल्सो क्विजिंग. सो आई फॉलो एट एनी पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम दोस फोर पब्लिकेशंस रिलीजियसली, डिजिटल एड गली, एफएक्स, एक्सचेंज ऑफ मीडिया एंड कैंपेन इंडिया, राइट? सो कैंपेन एशिया एज वेल. सो वो चारों तो मैं मोटा मोटा वीकली एक बार छान देता हूँ. वीकेंड में मेरा वो काम रहता ही. सो
Hmm.
आई डोंट नीड द अवार्ड्स टू डू दैट एनीमोर. तो वो उसमें मेरा
हाँ, ये बहुत मतलब इंटरेस्टिंग चीज़ है कि यू से कि यार ये दिस गाय इज ऑन द ज्यूरी, इसको तो मैं जानता हूँ, ये कैंपस में जॉइंट फूकता था मेरे साथ और इसको मैंने देखा है इसका ब्रीफ लिखते हुए, इसके ब्रीफ के अंदर 40 करेक्शन आता है और
हाँ या
हिज
या
आइडिया ऑफ
और
मीडिया प्लानिंग इज कपिल शर्मा में डाल दो तो
या करेक्ट.
ऑफ
हाँ
कोर्स यू क्वेश्चन दोस गाइस.
हाँ भाई, हाँ. वो मेरे लिए वो इम्पोर्टेंट फैक्टर है कि पीपल हु आर एसोसिएटेड विद दैट एंटिटी एंड हेंस आई विल जज दैट. मैं बहुत जजमेंटल हूँ, मतलब सॉरी. सो
नहीं होना
आई,
भी चाहिए.
हाँ हाँ
लोग
मतलब,
मार्केटिंग वालों को जज करते हैं तो मार्केटिंग वाले भी तो जज कर सकते हैं ना, मतलब व्हाई नॉट.
हाँ
अपने को
हाँ आई
सीखना है
गिव,
तो एंटरटेनमेंट है.
हाँ, लोगों को एक दो बार चांस देता हूँ, उसके बाद पेड़ पेड़ के जज करता हूँ. पहले न्यूट्रल रहता हूँ, उसके बाद शुरू करता हूँ.
बिल्कुल सही. तो मतलब एज आई थिंक क्लोजिंग रिमार्क्स आई वांट टू आस्क यू यार, अभी कोई मतलब somebody sitting in their dormitory मतलब साथ में ब्लेंडर स्प्रेड के साथ वो ये सुन रहा है और उसको मार्केटिंग करने का है, राइट? सो what would be three things that he or she can take away from this conversation like right now, like not like लंबा long term scene, ये तीन चीज immediately क्या करो which have immediate value to their journey into marketing.
तो फर्स्टली तो 3-4 फ्री विदाउट इवन वेट प्रो बोनो इंटर्नशिप उठा लो.
हम्म,
मतलब एकदम लाइक गो टू एनी प्लेटफॉर्म. आई एम नॉट सेइंग जस्ट माय प्लेटफॉर्म. बहुत सारे इंटर्नशिप्स वाले
हम्म,
ऐसे अपॉर्चुनिटीज वाले मिल जाएंगे तुमको. यू हैव टू नो हाउ टू फाइंड. तो वो कर लो.
हम्म,
नथिंग बीट्स लर्निंग. मतलब प्रैक्टिशनर्स लर्निंग इज द बेस्ट, राइट? तो
हम्म,
कोटलर शार्प सब है, बट वो मतलब उसका समरी एक पेज में हो जाता है. लिंक्डइन में तो लोग क्लाउजल बना के देते हैं. तो
हम्म,
वो करो, इंटर्नशिप करो, नंबर वन. नंबर टू, नेटवर्क लाइक योर लाइफ डिपेंड्स ऑन इट. लाइक एंड
हम्म,
नॉट विद एन इंटेंट टू राइट फाइंड जॉब. सीखो मतलब लोगों से, राइट? तो बात करके लोग ऑफ कैमरा बहुत कुछ बोलते हैं.
हम्म,
Like not like this conversation where we said some many of things you should have been off camera, but
हम्म,
वो सीख का बहुत बहुत वैल्यू है, राइट? सो मतलब what
yeah.
have they learned that they shouldn't do, right? वो पहले सीख जाना. एंड थर्ड, मतलब बहुत जल्दी प्यार में मत आ जाना कि मेरे को एफएमसीजी करना है, ऐड बनना है. वो बहुत बहुत
हम्म,
पेनफुल रूट है. देयर इज लॉट ऑफ पेन इन दैट रूट. एफएमसीजी में घुसोगे तो पहले 2 महीना एमपी के रूरल मार्केट में जाके तुमको बेचना पड़ेगा, विच इज विदाउट विच यू वोंट एवर गेट अ ब्रांड गिग.
हम्म,
और इक्वली नहीं भी मिलेगा तो बहुत दुख होगा, राइट? सो
हम्म,
डोंट फॉल इन लव विद ए रूट टू अर्ली, especially in this age where I don't know what my son is going to like do 5-10 years down the line. मतलब इतने सारे
हम्म,
job descriptions इतना evolve हो रहे इतना fast. I don't know what's going to happen. So these three things, man. So get an internship. Get as many internships as possible.
हम्म.
Speak to people who have been there, done that as mentors. Make a mentor ecosystem around you. And
Hmm.
third, like don't fall in love with one track. वो बहुत बहुत tough route है otherwise. Like be little fungible.
Very cool. I think that's really good advice and matlab easy to hear, but At least the first two are not as easy to implement. मतलब not as difficult to implement. The third वाला तो चलो difficult है, but cool. So I think this has been quite good. मतलब हमने थोड़ा सा time ऊपर कर लिया, but मतलब सही काफी कलेश वाली बातें हो रही थी सही वाली, तो इसलिए मैंने कहा चलने दो थोड़ा सा. So cool. I really
Nice
like that
talking to you,
word.
man. Thanks.
Marketing folks really like go out searching for Kalesh everywhere. So sometimes it's good to kind of find people and bitch about things together. So
Yeah,
cool. I love talking to you, and thank you so much for your time. And hope to have you again on the podcast very very soon.
no man. Like you said, like talking marketing with people
Hmm.
who have been there, done that. जिनको बहुत ज्ञान मिला है about the work that they have done. So yeah, it's a feedback time for people like where you went. Cool man, great talking to you. Thank you for having me.
Cool. Thank you so much.